Hey, good night. It's past midnight. It's like close to 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. And I want to talk about potential in the mind and how that can fool you. And yeah, I was rotating around in the bed for like an hour. Not sure exactly why I got up or woke up. And yeah, couldn't get to the sleep. I'm not exactly sure of the time, but that was at least an hour. And yeah, eventually in the laying on the bed, I just had this sensation on my solar plexus, and that's usually what flows very nicely when I do these videos. When I express myself, I feel that part is soft, that part is clear, and in the bed I just at the very end I feel like something was in there. So then I knew, okay, I need to get up, I need to get the camera and shoot some video. And while I was out, like up, I also had this very clear realization of this how mind can fool you, how mind can trick you. And usually for me how it shows up is as that is potential, like if you have any kind of problem, if you yeah, let's say you have like a problem that you try to solve in your head. Solving the problem in the head uh, doesn't sound so good. You can uh, make sense of things. You can, um, you know, thinking is one of the hardest job days. But to let the mind run loose, let the mind mm, run more uncontrolled, you can do a lot of harm. And I think how that shows up is personally for me when I have quote unquote some problem. It happens to seems to be a very big problem, and there could be many solutions to it, but it's like this. And if I think about the problem, I have also these things, and you know, and the problem can even just go bigger and bigger. And some point, if you are just fed up and you want to deal with the problem, you start taking action. First of all, you take action uh, by doing something. And one of the simplest ways to do some action is to just get clear of the problem and put it out somewhere. So you write it down somewhere. And personally, what I have found often that I have this massive problem, it's so complex, it's this, it takes my time, it takes my energy. And once I go and put it down to the paper, after after 4 points that I put out, I'm like, wait, I have to start thinking what was the problem? What is included in the problem? Not that the problem disappears, but the scale of it comes down so much. I don't know if you had this similar experience. Maybe uh, you know it could be some really clear problem, like you can see something have happened, the clear actions and the consequences. But even if you would think the consequences, if you map them out really, you might find out that okay, there are maybe not as many. And it could be that the opposite could be true. You might think something is just like a clear as day, and then you start listing things out. You can keep track of things, and then you end up with a much more bigger list than previously. But I would bet that even if that would be the case, a lot of those things that is on the list are solvable. You can see like, okay, I can take care of this, I can take care of this, these are not related, this is whatever. You have the big list, but in the head, even that smaller list is more chaotic. It's more, it's definitely more scary. It's definitely more daunting, and yeah, the biggest thing is just to get it out there. So once you can articulate it out, or even if you write it down, I think if you write it down on a paper, then you can see it, and usually the scale will come down, and and it's much more easier to start track on the problem. Another thing is these urges. So it might be related to problem. It might be just some of the urge. So you might have an urge of I have something unfinished business, or I have something that I want to try out or do this, and you have all these great ideas how it goes. You know, you see the single point of starts, and then it spreads out to many different things. And it's like, yeah, once I get started on this, I have this and this and this. It seems like there's a lot of potential. And that lot of potential often takes a lot of your time and energy if you keep it in the mind. You keep it in the mind, that potential grows and it takes up your energy, and it's something that you are like get engulfed. And then starts the urgency that you want to get in. You know, I need to get started. I need to get started because it's there's so many possibilities. There's, you know, and what I'm talking about this is still all in your head. Once everything is all on your head, I'm describing how the process often goes in the mind, especially for myself. And once you, since you have this potential now, back to the point. Once you have this potential, it feels like there's so much things to do, and you create that sort of sense of urgency. Then, interestingly, I have found that sometimes when you, if you have a restriction on that potential, let's say that you would need to, you would want to work on the computer, let's say, and you would be out in the cabin that you don't have internet access. So that is the restriction, or that is the block between you, your idea is in what is in the head, and you making it happen. And that almost creates more urgency and more potential what could happen. Also because there's this restriction. Then, interestingly enough, if you would out of the blue get the internet access, okay, I would have the internet access now to work on it. I have ability to work on this problem now. I have ability to work on this idea what I had. And while everything has been in your head when you haven't laid it down on the paper. And this is the interesting thing about the mind. And when you unlock that resistance off and you have the capability to start executing, suddenly the interest, the scale, the clarity, even the beginning action points, or most crazily sometimes the problem itself or the idea itself just diminishes. I know it might sound crazy, like I spend all this energy for thinking of something, and especially if there is the resistance, and then you can get over that one, and suddenly you are able to execute the potential. That almost the stuff that has been in your mind that can dissipate so easily, or the action steps, or the complexity or the possibilities around it can dissipate so easily. And then you are left with the basic first principle things, or the first idea itself. And what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you are planning something in your head, whenever you are trying to deal with some problem in your head, while you need to have a clear thinking, the thinking of any, maybe not any sort of, but intentional and clear thinking. It's really hard work, and original, the more original thinking you could do, the better. But I don't know if there's too much of original thinking. You have to see very past something that is acceptable or known already. Like if you think about some Wright brothers, when they wanted to go flying or something, they have to have some vision bigger than what they could see around them as well. So that way, to have some mental image and keep hold of it and try to figure it out, it's in that way thinking and imagination is so powerful what we can do. But if it's based on some of your patterns in your life, or on top of some emotions maybe that you have, you very clearly can sometimes find out that the thinking behind it is actually very slim. And that's why the sooner you can start putting things on paper, the sooner you can start record your ideas to map them out, the further you will go. And this is really just like advice for myself, to map things out, that you can first of all create more space in your head. You create more clarity, and you can put things in the on the paper where you can see them, so you don't have to hold tightly in them in your mind. So you are able to move forward from it. And also then, once you see it, you can let it go of what you just put on the paper, and you can start building on top of it and trying to hold all on the points, and then adding into it. It actually counts very, it grows unnecessarily, let's say. The thought process grows unnecessarily in your head. And yeah, I just had exactly similar process, just in the bed, I think, rolling around there for more than an hour. And it actually, like, yeah, I just had a very very clear example of that potential and the actualization, like how I would want to do something, but there was no way for me to do it. And then I realized that there was a way, and then suddenly the whole thing just started to dissipate so quickly. And I was like, wait, what I exactly wanted to do, like when I start, then what I wanted to do. So yes, the mind as a organized organized and managed tool can be very helpful, and it can lead to great success. But if you just let it run freely, yeah, you will create more problems to yourself, and you will encounter much more obstacles than otherwise. And whenever you are in a high thinking mode, and not that you are like intentionally just like sitting down and on the whiteboard and putting things down and putting some plan up. It's just that your mind is running. There's obviously a lot of things that you can do, maybe do some sports, or right now for me is I'm expressing this out. I'm just just what happened. I'm now putting it out and talking it out for you guys. So it's out there. Okay, that's about my thoughts about thoughts. And yeah, it's late. I get to speak. I get to express, and I'm moving forward. And let's see. I will have to go check out the time, but I think it's somewhere between 2 to 3 a.m. and see if I can get some more sleep. Cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.